Walk and talk video. Free will. Next Lager Dome subject. So, free will in the context of derived energy and Indonesia sucking. And, there is no free will. There's just wills and sensitivities and proclivities and ideas and principles and senses of honor and dignity and grace and intelligence, notions of these things that you either have or don't have, that are either instilled, you arrive at them through reading a great piece of literature or watching a movie or having a great grandfather, or all these things that make you into the person you'll become. Big, gigantic unicorn tracks. That's what conforms us. And so I sit here as one individual and I say, gee, I can look at how I became me and I can see it. It all makes kind of sense. In the sense that, I got here on Earth, I said, what's this all about? What's going on? And, I get these answers. And, fundamentally, what I realized fairly quickly is that I have to be kind of careful. I can't just swing hammers around because I might hit somebody. There's certain things I can and can't do because I have to interact with a world that has stuff in it. And then I had the conflict stuff where the stuff I found very interesting, bugs and other critters, other people were stepping on them and shit. And I'm like, what the hell? That's a cool thing. What are you stepping on that for, you crazy person? So the things I was valuing, they were burning off of trees or throwing against brick walls or boiling for dinner. And so I had to realize that somehow people can see the world differently. They fundamentally are different. And then through maturation, you see more of that because, I had 3 sisters and I could see how we grow differently. We grow apart in a way in terms of our sensitivities and sensibilities. They have their strengths and weaknesses. I have my strengths and weaknesses. I have my preferences. They have their preferences based on their experiences and how people treat them in the world and how the world treats them and how it's just plain circumstances. You catch a cold and don't go to Disneyland or something with the family or some other event happens and you get isolated and it does some changing to you. It makes you different than them because now your experiences are different. And certainly you have a lot of commonality because you share some, a substantial number of experiences. But even when you share them differently. You go on vacation and you might go golfing and they might play tennis or some other kind of thing. They might sit on the beach and you might go fishing and sensibilities and sensitivities. But through all that, I still can't, in my brain, because it never happened. I mean, as soon as they told me the rules of communication, I was nonsense. And so, I owe faith. I tend to say they don't have such a thing. That they have a wish or a hope or a want for a better truth, but they don't. And I certainly couldn't imagine someone being a Islamic or Muslim. I'm so happy that in my name you basically tore his skin off. Forgiving and just and honorable, and you have something called integrity. Christians who were burning witches actually imagine themselves going to heaven and God saying, because of petty hates and resentments, someone's wiener was bigger than theirs, so they found a way to destroy them. Metaphorically, I'm saying. So for some reason they had an animosity and they lived it out in this dishonest manner. Instead of just outright saying you hate the West or you hate this or you hate that. Foolish enough, let's not say stupid. Just foolish enough. Oh man, these are some badass hikers if they need signs. Oh man, I can't tell. Is that a path? I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty lame. Alright, anyway. Maybe some dyslexic thing or something, or some of their brain, car accident victims. Maybe it's a society of victims of Indonesia's prison system, maybe. So anyway, there's no free will, but you gotta say whatever constructed Islam is not a good force, rationally bankrupt philosophy. And we, as civilized people, anybody civilized enough to say, I'm a rational person, I know it, their hand and say that with confidence, should be appalled and feel the need to help civilize the world. Damn it. Because you're going to be born into it, metaphorically. Anyway, until next time.